How are you? Sorry I missed you last week, but I had some things to do and I thought it was time to give you a break from looking at me and my silly face up here. Alright, so we are moving along. Today is Tuesday, October 10th, 2017, and we are now moving into the brain, and we're looking at both biological and psychological issues associated with aging, and specifically in the biology part, we're really honing in and focusing in on Alzheimer's disease, and this is particularly pertinent because this is the topic of your next critical thinking assignment that is due in less than 2 weeks. Okay, so it's time to start thinking about it, preparing for this, because I know you guys got a lot on your plate. Alrighty, so and we have a particularly compelling aspect of the discussion. So we click over here and we go into the discussion. This portrayal, okay, this is an actual true documentary of this poor man who suffers from Alzheimer's disease, and it actually illustrates something that's really exciting in terms of research in brain diseases, and that's music therapy. And there are actually entire departments at most of the clinical centers all around the country that are doing actual clinical application of music therapy, but then there's also a lot of research being done in music therapy. So I know a lot of you are not biologists, not psychologists, but you like music, and maybe you might be in one of the arts programs at USC where you're specializing in music, and not everybody is able to achieve their dreams of being a rock star, but you can use your ability and your love for music in so many different ways. And so I really encourage you to kind of look into this, and that's this is a really beautiful illustration. And here we look at the caregiving and the crisis that's caregiving. Okay, and this is a big deal, whether it's Alzheimer's, mental disease. A lot of you guys are economists and business majors, and we look at the national cost in our country, and a lot of you maybe are from other countries, and it's the same thing there. Okay, and we see this annual cost of caregivers. Okay, 26 billion, and that's projected to be in 2050, which is not that far away. Okay, believe it or not. So 33 years, 32 and a half years away for you guys. Okay, so you'll be a lot of you in your 50s, and we're talking 1.1 trillion dollars, 1.2 trillion dollars in costs. Okay, so we have to come up with a solution, and that's what this is all about, to help the individual. Okay, because the reality is we're making amazing breakthroughs in terms of treatments of diseases like cancer and diabetes and heart disease, and when we push back the envelope on all this, what happens is we get diseases of survivors: Parkinson's, amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, and especially Alzheimer's disease. Okay, and the numbers are pretty staggering. So I'm going to go over here to the Alzheimer's Association, and if you're over at the age of 65, not over, but if you're at the age of 65, you have almost a 12% chance of being demented when you're a male, and a 20% chance when you're a female. If we ratchet this up to over 85 years of age, 33% of you will have Alzheimer's disease, and these are horrific numbers. Okay, and we're looking at the numbers of people in millions of people here in the United States, and what we're doing, at places like the School of Gerontology, is we're pushing back on so many diseases that we can eradicate or limit, and then what happens is we have this disease of survivors, and we really don't have any good treatments right now for Alzheimer's. All you can do is eat right, exercise, and challenge yourself intellectually. We do not have drugs in any way that will repair the damage or even slow down the damage, and that's the reality. So okay, So it's a big deal, and it's a great point of discussion, and I look forward to hearing from all of you, especially because a lot of you may be into politics, and I'm looking for policies. Okay, we have a brand new tax bill that's going through Congress right now. Think about this. Think about this. Okay, you're going to be caring for your parents, your grandparents, and we got to incentivize this so that we don't farm this out to private companies. Okay, and it's super expensive. Okay, alrighty. If we go over here to the critical thinking assignment, I just want to remind you. I'm going to scroll down here to the second one. Okay, you just address each issue. You see, we have it structured so that we have a great rubric for grading your CT2s. Of course, this goes through. Turn it in right here. Okay, so you have to do it on your own, right? I want you to include 2 references in the analysis, cite them in the text, list them at the end. Okay, all right, very clear. Okay, follow this. You have to answer each of these questions. Okay, and do it, with your own words. Okay, if you don't, then you get points taken off. All right, don't forget the paper's coming up. Okay, you gotta find somebody to interview as well. All righty, so we come back over here to the readings. Okay, and we come down here. And again, we're looking at psychology of aging, okay? And mental disease is a real tough one, okay? We don't have a good appreciation for the differences in terms of the way our brains function. It's, oftentimes it's kind of like the scarlet letter, okay? You don't want to admit that you have clinical depression, that you're bipolar, that you have some type of behavioral disorder, and so you don't seek help. And so I want you to read up on this. This is really, really important. This one right here, okay? And that's how you get to it by linking up here, okay? And then this gets into the Alzheimer's, and show some curiosity, navigate these, because the questions come from that, okay? Some of the questions also come from the statistics shown in here. This is a minute long, so a minute and a half. And then this is the biology. Again, some of the questions come from here. All right. I'm sure you guys have figured out we now have a pool of questions, so nobody gets the same 5, which is awesome, and ensures that you guys all learn. Okay. So I want you guys to think about mental disease, especially in light of what's been going down in our country lately, and the role that mental disease plays in that. Okay. Alrighty, I think we have covered everything of interest this week. Oh yes, sir, that's right. One way to, again, avoid Alzheimer's and avoid mental disease is to, we've learned about happiness and fulfillment, okay, gratitude. And I just kind of wanted to show you what was going on this last weekend, all right? This is me, all about me. All right, so this is down at Lower Trestles. So I was surfing down at Trestles this weekend. We had a huge swell. And this is from Surfline. This was the wedge. So this was the wedge on Saturday. Is that awesome or what? Okay, and I'll show you where I surfed right here. Okay, so this is one of my favorite places. So this is a place called Uppers right here, and this place is called Barbed Wire. So I was out surfing right here on Saturday, and it was special. And I'm sure by doing this, I have slowed down the likelihood or reduced the likelihood of me ever getting Alzheimer's disease. And it certainly gets rid of any sign of clinical depression. Alrighty. That's it, my friends. We'll see you next week.